You know who I feel bad for? Gargamel. I mean, think about it. It's a classic story of oppression by a dominant race. I mean, here's a guy just kind of chilling in his cottage, trying to practice his sorcery. Something, by the way, that we would never fault Harry Potter for doing. And this race of little blue creatures is trying to take over his world. I mean, there's these little blue men, right? Actually, they're not all men, are they? There's one woman, sexist little ship captains. They come in and they inhabit this land with this like crazy elitist attitude and a clear intention to isolate other people. You want proof? Their language, right? I mean, think about it. Their language is designed to make everyone, including Gargamel, feel unwelcome. Hey, Smurf, what are you doing? Oh, Smurf, I'm gonna go smurf some Smurfs. Really? That sounds awesome. Great. Then maybe after that we'll go and smurf some Smurfs with some Smurfs. Awesome. Then we'll go smurf some Smurf berries. Delightful. What? Really? You even had to commandeer a berry? I mean, when you think about it, the whole story of the Smurfs is about the oppression of white wizards. Right? It's a horrible story. You know, you've got the... Well, you know, because the Smurfs, they... Sorry, I can't do this because it's ridiculous. They're not gonna buy this. Who even came up with this idea? Oh yeah, it was me. If you haven't figured it out by now on the basis of, well, every shirt I wear on this show, I'm a total nerd. Like, big time. As in, I already have my tickets to Star Wars Episode 7. And no, I will not be doing cosplay, but I will be wearing a diaper. I wish I could tell you that the diaper is part of my plan to not have to leave the theater during the show. But if I'm being honest, it's because, well, even the trailer made it hard for me to control my bladder. And on the basis of the response that I've seen on Twitter, it made some people incapable of controlling that part of the brain that keeps them from saying stupid shit. I can't say that. But it's true. But I still can't say it? Okay. Attempting to get the hashtag Boycott Star Wars 7 trending on Twitter, a group of people is claiming that the new Star Wars film is, quote, anti-white propaganda. I wish that was a joke. I'm totally serious. The claim is that the diversity of the film has little representation of whites and is somehow alienating its core audience. Seriously? Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to take one look at these tweets and see the clear wrong-headedness and biased assumptions of the tweet creators. But the story doesn't end there. Articles have been popping up all over the place talking about how ridiculously outlandish this theory is. And then, well, you tell me. In one writer's article from CNN, fundamentally, Luke's nemesis is Darth Vader. And though we learn in Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, that Vader is Luke's father, he wears a black outfit and a black hood, and his voice is performed by black actor James Earl Jones. The Millennium Falcon and the Rebel fighter planes are white. The Death Star? Black. Yes, the Stormtroopers were white, and Jedi Master Mace Windu was played by Samuel L. Jackson. But generally, especially in the first 3 original Star Wars, good was white and bad was black. A mirror image of society's historical racial biases. What? How is this not the same overinterpretation and excess analysis that you're all laughing about from the Twitterverse? Let me give you some examples. In ancient Chinese religion and philosophy, the yin and the yang represent 2 opposing forces that are also complementary. In many places, the yin and the yang are used to represent the balance between good and evil. And what colors do they use to do that? Black and white. Black being used to represent evil, and white being used to represent good. So I guess going with your previous assumption, the ancient Chinese people were racially biased against non-whites. This coming from a non-white people. Here's another example. In Ephesians 5, Paul talks about the Christian life, saying, "For at one time you were in darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light." White and black. Light and dark. For centuries, people of all kinds of religious beliefs and creeds have been using the concepts of white and black to represent good and evil. I'm sorry, but I find it absolutely ridiculous and very hard to believe that George Lucas or J.J. Abrams would foster or even unwittingly promote any kind of racial bias. My guess, and I know this is a stretch, but maybe, just maybe, they wanted to create a cool story about the battle between good and evil that is largely based on the ideas of Zen Buddhism, a religion that is full of racial bias. That was a joke. Zen Buddhists are not racially biased at all. Why do you think that some people read too much into stories? How can we use the biblical narrative to promote the beauty of diversity? Let us know in the comments down below, or on our Facebook or Twitter pages using the hashtag ForthrighTV. I'm Anthony Creedon, and I'm just trying to be forthright. You know what other cartoon has always bothered me? Scooby-Doo. I mean, think about it. It promotes youth vigilantism and an illegitimate use of canines to solve crimes. Shouldn't these people be in school or at least have jobs? And why aren't the police taking care of these things? And when the guy gets captured, they pull off his mask and he always says the same thing, right? I would have got away with it too if it weren't for these darn kids. At this point, you'd think like Fred would turn around to the police or the detective that's there and say, you know what? That's a good point. Where were you guys? What were you doing? Seriously? The crime fighting in this city is left up to a bunch of kids with a dog. If I were the police in that city, I'd be embarrassed. Can you imagine when the tip comes into the police station? Hey, we have a crime going on. Hey, chief, should we figure it out? Nah, don't worry about it. We got a bunch of kids driving around in a van with a dog.